Hi, babies. It's the even more fabulous mother love. Okay, and I'm trying to be fabulous, but I've got me a new shirt, and my new shirt is too big. I mean, I can't believe how much weight I've lost so quickly. Where I'm back on my Ozempic. And nonetheless, listen, so you gotta sometimes you just got to go with the flow. And that's what we're going with the flow. Mr. Kennedy, hey Mr. Kennedy,
Hey, how
you
you doing?
wasn't fine, I wouldn't be bothered with you. You know that, right?
Well, that's a good thing to know that I fall under that category.
Yeah, oh yeah, you fall. Oh, definitely, you fall into the fine husband category. Absolutely, you were in the fine boyfriend category. And I was like, how she get in here so fine? I'm like, what do I look like being with an ugly man? I'm gonna look at him every day, and he gonna be ugly every day. I don't think so. We're growing more seasons every day, and we've seen so many first things happen in our lifetime. Our parents are rolling over in their graves, and our ancestors. The fact that we, as people of color, had a black president. Well, he wasn't really black. He was like a nice little mocha color. But he was our president for 8 years. And then we got a president for 8 years. And then we get a vice president and Madam Kamala Harris, who is now running for the United States of America as the president of the United States. Look, our people have gone from picking cotton to picking presidents. This could be two presidents. Oh, they gonna lose their rabbit man because girl, she is just really being on point. She spoke to the National Association of Black Journalists the other day, and unlike her, the guy who came before her, the 45th, she answered all. I thought she answered all the hard questions that they asked. And we as a people, we could be brutal on you. What did you think of her conversation? uh, and what do you think of her as the vice president who is now running for president? What's your take on Madam VP Kamala Harris?
Well, my take on it, I didn't see the interview with the Black
Mm,
Press Association.
mm.
Because that was supposed to have been back in the summer with the former president. The two of them was supposed to be on together and be answering the questions.
Mm.
And that actually
Wait, I'm gonna get a close the door. Keep talking.
conflict.
Keep talking.
And due to the scheduling conflict, she wasn't able to be there at that time. But I mentioned back even then is that I think both presidential candidates should speak to the Black press as well as
Mhm.
speak to as like they speak to any other press.
Exactly. Mhm.
That we will want them to speak, and if they don't get a chance to speak, then we miss out because
Right.
you do want to hear what each candidate has to say. I mean, people are far more sophisticated now than ever before, and we deserve the right to be talked to and not talked at or talked around.
Mhm.
And the fact that, I mean, if we want a lot of the problems that exist to go away, we will learn how to talk more to one another. I mean, we see everybody on TV now. You see everybody on social media.
Mhm.
Okay, the more you see people, the less you fear people.
Mhm.
And you start recognizing that we all are basically the same. It just takes us acting that way more than anything else.
And to be able to speak up and speak out on what she believes in. I saw it, and and I watched it, and the questions that they asked were really pertinent questions. What is your take on, if you would, once you get in office, restore Roe v. Wade as a right, as an amendment to our Constitution, that women have the right to say what we do with our bodies, and that is not up to somebody else, especially not in the legislature, especially not in politics, to get to tell a woman what to do. I mean, and they thought, oh, this is a big thing. We're just gonna get rid of Roe v. Wade, and they'll just do whatever we tell them to do. And what they don't understand is, with that nasty attitude, women don't want to have kids by you. They don't want to bring another person into the world at the time that you say it is, or whatever it is. Uh,
Well, well, I
and
understand.
you don't get to tell us what to do with our bodies. And she said one of the things that she would do would be to restore Roe v. Wade as a constitutional right. Now they go to the states. And that was for the whole country. I mean, when you a lady just passed, a young woman just passed away from sepsis because she could not terminate her pregnancy that was going to kill her and her fetus, who was not going to be viable. And they said, you got to do it anyway. And she crossed the state line. By the time she got across the state line, she was dead. And it's like, oh, well, and the attitude that men have about this. I'm
It's
like,
not
how
all men. It's
not all men.
no.
No, I'm gonna say no, only the crazy men. Because a grown man who is with a grown woman will say, you will sit down and you will make the decisions. You will make the choices. And she says to you, because a lot of times, girl come to you and y'all know, y'all been doing the PUSSY. She come to you and she said, baby, I just want you. She's sitting down. Baby, I want you to know that I'm pregnant. Well, how did that happen? That's what the dude is say. Well, how the heck did you think that happened? You was in there doing it. And because it takes two. It takes two, and sometimes it will still takes two, even if you have IVF. And that's another thing they want to get rid of. IVF. Women want to have who are longing to be a mother, are longing to be that representative in that child's life. That's when adoptions became, well, and when we were growing up, if a girl got pregnant, they always said she got in trouble. How come he doesn't get in trouble? And so,
Okay, if you recall back then, both of them got in trouble. The fact that only one
right, because you got in trouble, got married.
The fact that you had, she was going to be the one who would be pregnant. You was
Speak
going
up, I
to
can't
be the
hardly
one.
hear you.
You would be the one to help take care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference, and that's one of the things that I mentioned to you on a regular basis on that we need to spend more time talking with our young daughters and sons.
And sons.
I said I said daughters and sons. I didn't leave
Okay.
one or the other out.
Mm-hmm.
That we need to talk to them because lack of communication is the reason why a lot of things happen. I mean, if you don't actually know the guy, and then and the only person who can get pregnant is you, then that forces you because of that simple fact that you will be the one pregnant and not him. Is that you have to be a little more cautious than him. I mean, so getting to know him is far wiser on any woman's part before you get involved with a young man. I mean, I've talked to the women and I've asked them if that's something that you do not want, do you let those feelings be known? I mean, the one part that a lot of couples make is that you don't communicate
Mm-hmm.
completely.
The
That
fail to communicate yet again.
well, if you don't tell somebody, which if you're hooking up with somebody that person wants to, and that person wants to have a family, and you do not want to have a family, if you don't tell the person that, then it's shame on you because you should have made your intentions clear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not something that you wanted to do, and the fact that because you didn't want to do it, that the person should have been quite aware of that before y'all went forward, and
Mm-hmm.
that if both of y'all stop and communicate better, maybe some of the mistakes. Not that you're gonna cure all mistakes, and when I say it's not, it's
And I
not a
think
mistake.
what
It's not a
it's
mistake.
always
I take that
that's
back. It's
always
not
been
a
a
mistake.
that's always been a bone of contention with me. As far as when single people hook up to get together, they call it now friends with benefits. We didn't have a fancy term like that. We were just, oh yeah, let me you
So
over
you
there.
still hooked up? You
And,
still
and,
hooked up because you
and
didn't
then
use that term.
said what you say that I
Just
didn't.
because you didn't use that term,
It was the
friend
same
with
thing.
benefit. No, still the
It was
same thing.
It was still the
Yeah,
same thing. They just add new vocabulary.
yeah.
And I've often said to, especially my young friends and relatives, my family of, excuse me, my female friends and relatives, and our male family and friends, to let them know this is what can happen. You need to talk to your children before they get to the stage where they can procreate. And
Okay.
I remember I was 12 years old.
And your
12
mother
years
talked to you?
old. What,
Did
say
she
it again?
talk to you? I said, your
Uh,
mother talked to you at 12?
yes.
I,
Well,
okay.
absolutely, really, she talked to us before I turned 12. She talked to us about our menses, what's going to happen to our bodies, what it's going to mean, how we stand our ground on what we do with our bodies and who we allow to be in our bodies. And I couldn't understand when she said you have to be mindful of who you allow in your body. And I'm like, in my and she told us about that because a man will enter into your body. You don't enter into his body. He enters into your body, and you have to, you got to. She taught us the responsibility that would be. And then when the guy would come and say, and you tell him, I'm pregnant. Well, you don't know I'm pregnant, but I'm telling you I'm pregnant. And they go, well, how did that happen? Really? You really got to ask me that. That let me know that he did not have that conversation with his father, with his mother, with other men. And men, everything y'all talk about being the barbershop up under the
Not
hood of the
everything.
car. Not
Not everything.
everything, but
No,
most of
see.
y'all, you get up under the hood of a car, be 8 men around the hood of a car. Y'all be talking back and forth. It could be 15 fellas in the barbershop. I went into the barbershop with you and our son and our grandson on many occasions. And that's when I knew I don't even need to be in here. But I'm
Okay,
glad I'm here
well,
because I get
okay.
to
Now,
hear
how many times?
from another perspective. From
How
another
many times? How many times have I gone to your salon while you were getting your hair done?
only to drop me off and pick me up.
Okay, so you know people learn more than one way, and that's why I've always suggested is that we need to add more to the curriculum in school
Mhm.
because it's missing at home. And to say, well, if you're a parent or you're a single parent, because half the families now are run by single family homes, that we need that extra help as the village to help raise a better society. And
But
we're
is it
talking.
extra help? Why do men feel
Yes,
like,
it
okay,
is.
I'm taking care of my kids, I pay my child support? Yeah, I don't want.
Okay,
We're in this together.
okay. Once
We have
again,
got to be
you're
in
only in
this
that
together.
together if you communicate that and everybody know what's going on.
Mhm.
You know, okay. Did you say you want to be married before you start having kids? Did you say did it matter if that even if you did have kids, you would still let them get married? How many people have started having kids and never got married? So,
Ooh.
so the security that would come with them
And
being married and the
is
tax
that
breaks.
really the end game to be married? And what about what that marriage looks like on the inside? I mean, because we could fill it full of flowers, kisses, and love, and great fragrances, and earthy tones, smells, and what have you. But when you don't have that conversation beforehand, do I
Yeah.
want to have kids? Would I want to be married? That's a long time thing. And
Well, I mean,
you
it's a long time
already
thing.
know. I
Okay,
never
it's a
thought I
long.
would be married. I never thought I would be
Okay, well,
married.
see, that was
And
your
wait a minute, let me just
short-sightedness.
say this. I never thought I would be married. I never thought I would be married to a guy like you, because I always said if I'm gonna be married, he got to be fine, he got to be smart, he got to be cool. The whole, I got my husband list down. I'm sure you got the wife list down. And we sat down and had the greatest thing I think I know that we ever did. Uh, and I didn't see it coming, but I take that back because I said if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna be committed to this, if I'm gonna be just why y'all can understand where I'm going with this, he asked me to marry him, and I'm like, okay, did the drugs wear off? What's wrong with you? What you telling me you want to be married? Dude, we've been in this for like 11 days. He said he wanted a June. I said, okay, that's what you gonna do. Call my mama, tell my mama you want to marry me. And we had to go over and give her a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation because she about almost stroked. Like, what? Kenny said, oh. I'm like, mama, it's all right, mama. Somebody call the CPR people. Make sure. And we went, and after she sat up on the side of the bed, first thing she said was, get his credit cards. We're going to buy your wedding dress right now. And I went to the bridal fair that they had in Cleveland, this whole big to-do, and it was just absolutely wonderful. That's why I got discovered to be on the radio, what I'm still doing now. And I was like, I don't know. Wait, do we really need to? Okay. And I said, in my mind, I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this once. He made a liar out of me that because he married me twice, but I'm going to do this once. And I believe in the sanctity of marriage, that you take your whole heart and you take your whole heart and you give it yourself wholly to that person that you said, I'm going to love this person for the rest of my life. And with all the crap that goes on with that, I mean, it used to be black people couldn't be married to white people. I don't know if you remember the story of the Loving family. It was this white guy, red hair, looked like a stone cold Nazi redneck, any kind of name you want to call it. And he
Okay,
was
so why
in
you
love
got to
with
be
his
giving the
queen, and
things?
she was a black queen. And they fought. The police actually came into their house
Okay,
while
they
they in
didn't
bed
fight.
sleep and told them, you can't be married to her. You can't be married to him. And they fought it. They fought. Look, Google it. Loving versus the government. And that's when they legalized interracial marriages. And I thought, that was kind of stupid. I ain't gonna tell somebody who they can love.
How is that
And
kind of stupid? Wait a minute. When you say kind of stupid,
it was
and
kind of
that
stupid.
means that it was just simply stupid.
It was real,
Because
yeah. It was real
it
stupid. Okay, you're
wasn't
right.
kind of.
You're
It was
right.
simply
It wasn't
stupid.
just kind of stupid. Okay, I'll back up.
You know, the fact that if we stop trying to push people apart, one of the things, reason why we have so many conflicts in the world now is because we don't care enough for one another. That we let some small things, big things, in between things get in the way of caring about one another. You know, we all make mistakes, and anytime people think, well, okay, I don't forgive your mistake, but I want my mistake forgiven. But your mistake can't be forgiven. I just can't forgive it. You know, then we wonder why. You know, sometimes we miss out on blessings that would have come our way because we block the blessing because we say, well, I don't want to forget. I mean, I'm not saying that you should forget everybody for everything that they've done. I'm saying sometimes if you want to go forward and have a more peaceful life and live longer and be less stressful, you have to learn how to forgive because everybody wants to be forgiven themselves when they make a mistake. So learn to forgive the other person when they make a mistake. Don't just hold their feet to the fire and say, "Oh, I can always remind you about your mistake, but oh, don't mention my mistake because even if I made a mistake, I don't want to. I don't want to mention my mistake
I,
brought up, but I want to bring yours up though. But I don't want to bring mine up."
called deflection. I will show you with my words where you're wrong, but you can't show me with your words and with your compassion and with your empathy where I'm wrong. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And,
Yes,
and when you talk about forgiveness, I think a lot of that comes from when people don't forgive themselves for their ilk, for the mistakes that they made, and they
yeah,
go to try to justify. Oh well, this happened to me, and so therefore I make this decision. But a lot of times we make decisions in haste. You know, that's
yes.
when they talk about crime and
A
excuse me,
passion.
your crime of passion. I was caught up in the moment, and I just saw her in the bed with my husband, and my gun, my trigger, my gun just came out my pocketbook, and I just shot them both
Well,
dead
that was out of passion.
out of
That
passion.
that was out of passion. I mean, now it's not
Ought
passion
that be
when you
forgiven?
get upset about that, and then you turn around and you wait till later on, and you come back and say, "Well, now I'm gonna shoot him."
That's premeditated
Then
then.
that becomes premeditated.
Okay, it goes from crime of passion. I'm gonna leave. I saw y'all in the bed doing what you do, 10 toes up and 10 toes down. I saw two little booties go. Shut up, mother love. Shut up, girl. Just stop that. And now I've seen this. I'm traumatized. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I leave. I go and get a weapon. I go into the kitchen. I get a butcher knife. I go into the junk drawer where my gun is, so I can't just find it automatically. And I find it, and I come in. That's premeditated. That is, to me, that is not in
No,
the
that
heat of
well,
passion.
see, that I would argue
See, when you go
that
into that point, that's
that
when
it
you
was
just
still
need to go to
passion.
the
That was
bathroom.
still passion.
You need to just go
That
to
was
the
the
bathroom.
passion that I had. I'm like, can't nobody else have it. I kill you first.
You know what? Okay, Mr. Kennedy, I'm not going to even allow you to laugh at that or make it
I'm
a joke
okay.
because it's not. Because I
Okay.
know.
Okay, people
And I can
that
tell you
people
this,
have done
and
stuff.
you know this,
Yeah.
wait a minute. You can't joke about that. For a fact, one of my girlfriends, and she was my co-worker first, and then she was my girlfriend. We had a good time. She had 3 kids, and we was, it was just all love, and it was wonderful. We had a good time, and we would take the kids up to the park up there and Luke Easter Park and take them roller skating and do all that fine stuff. And her husband got strung out on drugs. And she kept saying, I could fix him, girl. I could fix him. We called each other by our bus numbers. She said, I could fix this 777. I could fix. I'm like, sweetie, he a grown man. And that's a grown man who's turned into an addict. He is not your husband. This is not the guy you married. She said, I just can't let go of him. I just got to be here.
That was nice. I mean, because
and
you
then,
never know.
wait a minute, let me get to the point. Let me get to it. Oh, and she loved him to pieces. She loved it. She fought tooth and nail. He came in the middle of the night one day, and it was in the middle of the night. It was early morning for us because we got up at 5 o'clock, and he came in about 5:15 in the morning. You could hear it screaming across the street. And everybody was like, what's going on? What's going on? They see him dragging her out of the house. He had a van, one of them windowless vans, drug her out the house, screaming and howling, because she said, I'm not giving you no more money for no dope. You supposed to pay the light bill, the gas bill. We got kids. We got to make, I can't buy into this craziness with you. And everybody could hear it. He snatched her by her. That's why I don't mind being bald, because you're going to drag me by my hair. Drag me by my hair. It's going to come off in your hand. I'm just playing. And he drug her out into the van. He took her someplace. We don't know where he took her. And he got in the back of the van, and he brutally raped her and killed her. And when I guess he was coming out of, a drugstore or whatever, and he passed him, he was passed out at the wheel. And, the police came up and they was knocking on him. Sir, are you all right? Sir, are you all right? And he was like all groggy. It was like, okay. And when he rolled down the window, that's when we had roll down windows. They could smell her body rotting. And you ain't never smelled nobody rotting, a human body.
Well, no, the majority of us have not.
It is like, and you will never ever forget that. Like, you will never ever forget what a burned body smells like. You just don't forget that. And
how many people? Most of us don't have that experience.
They rolled down the window. They found her in the back of the van, dead. Arrested him, and he goes, I don't know what happened.
Well, maybe he didn't honestly know though. He was strung out on drugs. He may not have honestly known.
And we know about people strung out on drugs, and they don't remember what they do, and they don't remember what they say.
So and
I was wondering, did I say that? I did not say that. Okay, well, okay. Let's move on. I'm starting to bring up too many stories of where we really come from. Because I tell them all the time, look, we hustlers. This is what we do. We get out there. We're on the grind on a daily basis. I just wanted to be on the grind where I could get benefits after I got to be a seasoned citizen. That's what I was doing. Speaking of shifting, next story. Okay, we talked about Kamala Harris and her speaking with the National Association of Black Journalists. I thought, she answered their questions. She didn't falter. She was succinct in what she said and what she said she wanted to do. And one of the things that she said was, in her administration, Roe v. Wade will be restored. Working families will be able to have a decent wage so they can take care of their family. Bring in, medical care for all of us, not just the rich and the
first of all, the rich don't get Medicare. I mean, and the reason why they keep saying, wait a minute, the whole thing about Medicare, if people actually understand that. When Democrats talk about everybody having a medical, be under one medical umbrella
under Medicare,
okay, then you don't have private
insurance. Still doesn't cover everything.
Wait a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, if everybody was under Medicare, okay, then you would get better prices and lower costs because you would have a larger group that will be able to have the buying power
Mhm.
to help to drive down costs. But you also have to understand that everybody does not want to be on Medicare. And living in America, you should not have to be forced to have to be on Medicare. Everybody, no, having private your own private insurance is all right because, as you mentioned, you say they don't cover everything. Well,
Right.
that's why having your private insurance may cover something that Medicare is not covering.
Because
And so
Medicare
you want to
doesn't
be
cover everything.
well. So
And that's why
once
we
again,
need that. And what you're saying is that's why we need the secondary insurance companies to
you
pick
know
up the
you
slack
no,
for
well,
what
not just a
Medicare
second,
doesn't cover.
but you need a private insurance as well. If you put all your eggs into one basket, I mean, you have to look at some of the European countries and that have
Universal health care.
health care and see how well things are there and look at the cost, look at the actual cost on the society as a whole to pay
Mhm.
for that, for everybody being covered under one plan. Is that truly a better plan? I mean, because one plan doesn't fit all. I mean, it may fit maybe Switzerland, no, the Swedes, because it's a smaller country.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
or you
Finland and
talking about
Denmark and all of them say that their health
okay,
care costs are
but
down.
because it's also a smaller
A
country
smaller country.
compared to saying, okay, you put 400 million people all under one healthcare plan. What would those costs be? You've spoken on many occasions about how doctors take advantage and run up the cost. If everybody's under one plan, would the cost just really get run up even worse because everybody's under one plan?
Oh, you know what, Mr. Kennedy? Didn't nobody ask you to come on here and talk logical? Logic starts at 4:15. And that's what it is. And like you said, that was a really powerful thing that you said. Not everybody wants to be on Medicare. They want to have that private insurance. They want to be able to have access to the specialist. They want to be able to pick up the phone and call a doctor and not have to wait 3 and 4 weeks or 3 and 4 months to get a doctor, get a doctor's
I mean,
appointment or
you
get
think
to the
about
dentist. One of the things, and this is just
veterans.
me.
Veterans do that too. No,
Mm,
veterans, as you said, there's not enough veteran hospitals because a
No,
lot of veterans
absolutely.
have to wait.
That's where I was going with that. What are we and what can we and what will we do to make sure that the men and women who were willing to put their lives on the line that came back from war? Because we don't even talk about the ones that are lost in the war. We don't even want to acknowledge
Memorial Day,
that come back.
okay, Memorial Day. We do recognize the ones that gave their life
Wait a
for
minute,
freedom.
I didn't hear you.
Memorial Weekend,
Mhm.
Memorial Day, May 29th, May 30th, depends on
When it
what
comes up.
calendar day. But that last Monday in May, we honor our fallen soldiers and wounded soldiers from wars, from the past wars.
And when they leave, they don't come back the same way they left with because their eyes are full of wonder. I'm willing to sacrifice my life for my country for what I believe in. And they go out there and they're on the battlefield and there are all these wars, and we still got wars going on right now. People are killing up their neighbors and their brothers and their sisters. Oh no, you got to believe what I believe. And if not, I'm just gonna just wipe y'all out of extinction. And it's like, really, it's like they think that, them doing that is going to give them a moratorium on life and they're going to live forever. And it's not going to happen, babies. You're not coming out of this.
Unfortunately, nobody lives forever.
No, no. And that's what I heard this, and I'm sure a lot of people heard this too. People can die 2 deaths.
What do you mean?
You can die when your soul leaves your body and you're a dead person.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's one death.
Okay.
And your second death is when nobody remembers you and don't call your name.
I don't quite get that.
When they don't remember, when nobody talks about you because you felt you really kind of didn't put your footprints on the planet, and so people stop talking about you. I mean, they got in the cemeteries the tombs of the unknown soldiers.
Yes.
They came from someplace. They got a mother and
Oh
a
no.
father
Okay. The reason
come
why they
from
say that.
someplace, and for us to say
Okay.
that we
Okay. Wait a minute.
all need to
There's a
be known,
reason why.
even for a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay. Wait a minute. But the reason that they're saying unknown soldier Okay, and war. All the time, you don't know who falls. Your brethren who happens to fall and is killed because, or maybe he's blown up by a bomb. Okay, there's not enough pieces for you to be saying, okay, I know who this particular person is. Okay, unfortunately, the military records got burnt up in 1950 something.
Something or other.
Okay,
We
and
lost a
can
lot of
we,
medical records.
military records. So there's no way to be able to trace a lot of people
Mhm.
information because it was destroyed in a fire. And that's before computers were up and we had we put everything on backup on a jump drive. They were not doing that for the army, and so therefore a lot of information was lost. So some people will have to be in the unknown soldier. You don't know who he was, but you still know he fell fighting, for his country or fighting, even if fighting for your country, and
And
you
that's
still want to honor him, whether you actually knew his name or not. That's still giving him respect to at least honor him by burial, than not to bury him at all.
okay. They still have somebody that loves them.
Yes,
And,
I'm not disagreeing with
I
that.
couldn't even imagine the agony that a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a husband, a wife, the agony that they would go through, not
Yes,
knowing what happened, not knowing where they were, not having that, as they call it, closure.
yes,
Winston Churchill said, if you're running through hell, keep running. And these parents and loved ones, they have to keep running through hell because they don't know. And they want to just get back to some kind of normalcy. But what kind of normalcy is that when there's a vacant chair at your table and it's going to always be there? You don't get over things like that. I believe you get through them, and every day is a get through day. What they said on one of my favorite TV shows, NCIS, uh,
yes.
Los Angeles, the only good day was yesterday because you made it to today. And that's what we got to look for. That's what we got to hold on to. That's what we have to remember, that we see the past. We've seen the hate. We've seen the angst. We've
And we
seen
don't need to
the
say it
loneliness.
again.
And now we got to do what VP Harris said. We got to turn the page. We ain't looking back. We're not going back. We're going to stand up and we're going to have us a new path for, I can't believe,
Okay, well,
I
you better
love
slow down.
animated.
Okay,
Okay, just
okay.
so y'all know why I'm animated, I got a two-tone rotator cuffs.
Oh, so you
I said
better
I'm intelligent.
slow down, Long Range. Slow
We
down.
say slow down. How you always tell me
Uh,
that? Slow down, long range.
I
And
mean, 'cause some things. I mean, when we stop and think about the good and the bad, and the things that people go through and have
Mhm,
gone through, and that knowing that all of us need some kind of forgiveness,
mhm.
and that for the ones that don't think that they need forgiveness, they're the ones who are mistaken, because whether everybody knows you're a mistake or not, we've all made them, and we all want forgiveness. And if we treated one another better, I mean, even during this election time, you can disagree, but you don't have to fight.
And you have
You
to
know,
be malicious and
you don't
vicious.
have to hurt one another because you don't agree.
Right.
Agree to disagree. But one thing going forward is the only solution. I mean, there's so many more things that are coming up. They just made changes now with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, as far as having more parental rights that are being installed to
They
where
even got wait, didn't we see a commercial on television that said, if your child has showing signs of alienation, from or whatever it is from the
yes,
internet, we're gonna put Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all them on blast because they have more control over your child than you do. See,
but
I had a
actually,
problem with that from the beginning. One
well,
of the
did
things
they
I
have
was
more
so grateful,
influence?
that all of us and the grandparents of the grandchildren were
Yes,
of a one accord. You're not gonna be on that phone and on that cell phone, 24 hours a day. No, we had before when they were still kids, when they first got their phones. I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, babies. And I went and got my real fancy crystal. It was fancy. Somebody gave it to me for a present. It was like really expensive and it was like really heavy. So I get my punch
Yes.
bowl out, I put it on the table, and I said, when you
Hmm.
walk in the door, all electronic devices go in here. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So when you walk in, I'm not looking at the
Hmm.
by top of your head like this. I'm not looking at you doing this. I want us to have a face-to-face conversation. And the
Okay.
first person that says, is our 30 minutes up? You got 30 more minutes. And you know, it's always the grandson. What? Wait, is it up? 30 more minutes. And after a while, they kind of got it. And they did get it, because by the time they got to the second 30 minutes, that would have been a whole hour. We actually engaged in conversation with them. You would ask them questions about what they wanted to do, what did they like. I would ask them stuff like, what's your favorite color? If you didn't have any, if money was no object, where would you go? And they all said Disneyland. Then our granddaughter said, money is not involved. I can go where I want. I want to go to Paris. And I went, oh yeah, she would be the one. Because she the same one that went into the refrigerator with her older brother, found my beluga black caviar, and was hunking it on the cracker like it was peanut butter. And I said, you can't beat the children. They eating caviar. They don't know. They don't know. And I said, I got around to him, and he was just hunking it on the cracker. And I was surprised that they even liked caviar. And I said, he's standing there, and she's just a little bitty thing sitting on the counter. And I said, do you guys know what you're eating? They go, no. I said, how did you get it? And she said, he got it off the top shelf. she threw him under the bus immediately. And I said, well, you guys are eating very fancy, very expensive caviar. They didn't hear about the very expensive part. All she heard was caviar. I like caviar. And they
Okay. Well,
they
that's
ate the whole thing up. And I was kind of pissed, but I was all right because they were willing to experience something new and different. And that was
okay.
what's the cool thing.
Okay. Now, one of your listeners, Janie, she came in to say
Hey,
that
Janie.
that social media does have more influence, and she's right. It does, because once again, it's talking at their level, not as a parent. They're not looking at social media as their parent. They're looking at it as their friend, their way to reach out to their friends and be involved, which is great. That but like I used to tell you when they were little, even before they got into social media, when I would sit with them and let them control the remote control on what we will watch on TV, a way to get to know what they like by allowing them to control. If you're sitting there while they're on social media, then you're
Hmm.
seeing what they're into. See, this should say all I want to do is just block what they're receiving. Then you're missing 90% of the picture.
Hmm.
The real picture is sitting there and watching them communicate with their friends, or watching them watch whatever they're watching on their social media, what they're
Hmm.
watching on their phone or on their tablet. If you don't stop and take a few moments to watch and see, then you'll never truly know. You're saying, okay, we want parental controls. You're saying, I want somebody else to watch over my child, not me. Because without sitting there and actually seeing what they're saying, who they're talking to, sometime you'll never know.
And I'm glad that you have been like that with them, because we have different, because I'm like, you're not watching this. Turn the TV off. Or you gonna watch what I want to watch. Remember when we were growing up, all we could see all the news was on Huntley what was it? Huntley Brinkley with the news, Walter Cronkite. We
Right?
had
Yeah.
3 stations, and
Right.
did your parents make you watch where you had to watch the news to see what was going on so you could make an informed decision, yay or nay? So I got to find out, okay, what's an
Yeah,
informed
but that
decision?
but
I'm
that's
just a
that was a
kid. I'm like
long time
9.
ago. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not done that much anymore. So you
Mhm.
have to change with the times, and the times have changed. And
And they
sometimes
keep
as a
changing
parent,
so
and
quickly.
as a parent, you have to be willing to change, not be stubborn and say, "Well, I don't have time." I mean, that's why we feel old. When we're not willing to keep up with the changes that are happening. We're not willing to listen to what our kids are listening to watch what our kids are watching.
Mhm.
That's what's making us feel old.
Mm.
because now you hear the buzz around you, but you don't know what the buzz is about
Right.
because you
That
chose to be the
generation
parent.
gap thing. It's a generation gap. I'm like,
Well, it's
I
only
want to
is
know
it
what they
is,
know.
but it is a generational gap. And it's like you
If
said,
you let it.
but wait a minute, you were saying that you did allow that because you were saying you're gonna watch what I want to watch.
Right.
When I was saying I want to watch what they're watching, so I know what they're watching. If that's the difference, because one, okay, you get, I mean, because you learn from both. They
Hmm.
learn from both.
Hmm.
You know how much attention even when you think that they're not paying your programs any attention, they are. Because if you're forced to sit there, your mind start paying attention. So
Hmm.
you do pick up on bits and pieces. Whether you ever tell your parents or not, you do pick up on stuff.
They
And,
do.
and
As you would go and pick the kids up from school on a day on a regular basis, and this was really, I thought this was really cool. So and I didn't oftentimes were able to go with you to pick the kids up, but when I would, I was there, and so you don't pick we picked up the kid. I'm taking all credit. We went and picked the kids up from school, and we're riding and doing our thing, and he spoils them absolutely rotten. I am the mean grandparent, and I have no problem with that, because you're gonna do what I say when I say it, and I'm not gonna tell you twice. I'm not gonna raise my voice, because if my voice go up, it's gonna be some kind of action happening, and you don't want to see me crazy. You don't want to see me pulling up my earrings and pulling up and put my Vaseline on my face, and they just go, "What's wrong with her, Papa? Come and get your wife."
she doing all this. Did she doing all this for her grandkids? She put on Vaseline and taking off her earrings for her grandkids. Oh, okay.
Don't make me hurt you.
Okay.
See, all you gotta do is strike the fear in him. I would never. I remember when the kids first, I didn't even notice this, and they asked me to take them to snow. Will you take us to the snow, to the mountain? I'm like, no, I don't like. No, I'm not taking you to the mountain. And they were like, she said no. She's never said no to us. And I meant that. No, notified. No, you want to know where to get it? Watch the Little Rascals. No, notified. No. And y'all took them up there and they had a great time. I wasn't going. I don't like snow. I was born in snow. And I'm telling you. And
So that means
that's
you
what
had
they
to
wanted to know
deprive them.
about.
You had to deprive them of their chance to be in snow because you grew up in it.
They could go to snow. I wouldn't find somebody else to do it.
You find somebody else that
Hold
wanted
that
to go to
down with
snow.
the big cross. No, I'm not doing it. And they had a great
Okay.
time. And if I'd have been there, I'd have
Okay.
been moaning and complaining the whole time and everything, because I don't like snow.
Okay.
And I
Well, see,
remember
but then that would just been one experience that they could
that was
have
one
without
experience.
you. You
And
know that they could
they
have
had their
without you.
experience.
Well, yeah, because they went to the snow without you, so they
Right.
still got
And
a
they
chance
had
to
a great
experience.
time.
Right. So I mean, it's not it's about the village. So somebody else in the village took them to the
Exactly.
snow. Okay,
And
you
that's
didn't want to
when
go to the
know.
snow. That was all right. They still got their experience in the snow
And
by
they got
somebody
their
else,
experience, and they
which is
came down
what
the
you want.
mountain, and it was like, "Oh, this was so cool! We could come out the snow and ride all the way down, and we could go to the beach." They thought that, they were just over the moon with that. And
Yes.
when you give your children parameters from the beginning, and
Yes.
you lay down what is going to be, what's expected of them, because a lot of
Yes.
kids nowadays don't understand their position in the family structure. You got the mom,
Oh,
you got the dad, you can have a mom, and the dad mom, or whatever, and the mom, and the dad.
whichever
Those
combination.
parental guidance, those parental parameters will set your kids up for what they're gonna do. If you think it's crazy, and you're gonna put that crazy on your kid, you can expect crazy to continue. When you put peace in their lives, when they know they got a safe place to be, when they know that they're welcome there, when they know that they're loved, when they know when they walk into that door,
Mm-hmm.
they're in a safe space. And that's what I've always wanted. And I continue that. I want, when people walk into our space, I want them to know they're welcome in our space. And I remember when we was growing up, kids in the neighborhood would say, "God, I wish I could live with y'all. We don't even sit down to the table to eat dinner, let alone breakfast and dinner, and let alone all on Sunday." And I'm like, I thought everybody did that. And you ate what was put on the plate. You ate what was on the plate. We knew liver was liver, and we knew it wasn't steak. And I happened to like liver at the time.
Well, I mean, you happen to, but everybody does not,
I
and
know.
that's something we have to, we be quite, aware of. I mean, because I never liked liver. I mean, even though and they used to smother, and
Great.
gravy.
No.
So it would say, "Oh, this is steak." I'm like, "No, it's liver. Still tastes like liver. It might be smothered in gravy, but it's
But it's
still
still
liver."
liver and onions and gravy. And I love Thursday because on Thursday, our mother had she planned out the meals Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes,
Saturday,
like in
you was
most
on your
families.
own. That's how we learned how to make fried bologna sandwiches on Saturday. We used to fry the bologna, cut it in, so don't get up in that big poofy part. Wait till it got black around the edges. Put it on some white bread, put some we called it Mand-Aid. Put some Mand-Aid, it was mayonnaise. Put some Mand-Aid on it, hold it together, squeeze it, and he was good to go. And the stuff that these kids are eating now and that we're eating now is really detrimental to our health. I don't know how we got off on all of this when I'm talking about what's going on with social media and these kids and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and X, Twitter, whatever they want to
I
call
mean,
it.
but
What is your take on this? And should
uh,
they be responsible? Should they be held responsible before the parent? Excuse me.
not before the parent. They had their responsibility just like the parent. That's why I said if you sit down with your kids, okay, it's no different when it start off when our parents listen to the radio and
Mhm.
their parents would just turn the radio off so the kid so our parents could listen to the radio.
Mhm.
Okay, when our parents were grown, we came along and they had the TV. Okay, when TV came in, okay, they set you in front of the TV. So they made the TV your babysitter.
Wait,
Now this
wait a minute.
generation,
Hold up. Did you just retrogress back to when you said we had a radio and then they got TV? You remember not
yes,
having a TV in the house
yes,
and everybody sitting around the radio?
yes.
Our daddy built
You
built our first
okay,
radio
but
station and
okay,
he built our first TV station, our first television.
okay. He didn't build a TV because he didn't know how to build a TV. No,
Oh,
now
yes,
wait a
he
minute.
did.
Okay,
Yes,
all
he
right.
did.
I'm not even gonna go there. Okay,
No, don't
TVs.
even go there.
Okay, because TVs was a novelty, and most people bought them from the store who were able to afford a TV. When TVs first came out, most of us did not have a TV. When TVs first came out, it was black and white, only black and white.
And the screen was like this big.
Okay, and most people still didn't have that. Most people were still listening to the radio. Okay, then you went from black and white to finally in the 60s, color. Technicolor came out.
Technicolor.
NBC and Technicolor, the Peacock
The
was in
peak.
color now.
Ding,
Okay,
ding, ding.
so it ushered in a new era. Okay, the new era now is the internet and the social media sites. And in fact, if you don't want to stop and take the time to see what your kids are doing on that sites, then you are missing out because you should want to know what your kids are doing. Not because it's about saying you monitoring, but you should want to know what your kids are into. If you want your kids to be safe, you have to kind of know what they're into. If something happened, you wouldn't have an idea because you didn't bother to take the time to know. You have to want to know too, though. It's great that they're putting these measures up, but like I was hearing one person say that because the fact that
We had TVs.
you know when you open up these sites, they always ask you your age, and
Mm-hmm.
if they're saying that they're monitoring based just on your age, and you have to put your own age in,
Mm-hmm.
how much of a monitor is that? When any 14-year-old kid, a 12-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid will say, "Okay, I'll make myself be 19, so I could have open range." It takes more than just simply asking you to put your birth date in
Mm-hmm.
to verify that you're not underage and some of the things that you're
And
allowed
they
to
can
watch
still
and
lie.
listen to.
They got a whole thing on
I
the
s-
internet called catfishing. I just saw a thing on the on the cable network that they made a movie or a TV show, I don't know, called catfishing. And
yes,
I didn't know what
because
that
it was that popular.
that's when you be pretending to be somebody that you're not, you know.
Okay, wait a minute. If you can't see me, if you can't see me, and all you're doing is just going on what I'm saying. Okay, if you're an adult, your vocabulary is far greater, far more vast than
Than
that
a
of a
12 or
teenager.
14-year-old.
And
Absolutely.
so the fact that yes, you can catfish someone that young because you know things that 12, 14-year old hadn't even thought of yet.
Come on, let me meet you. Come on, meet me at the hotel motel, and I'll bring wine coolers. And he comes in, he got a case
Okay,
of wine coolers. They had this TV show on. I can't think of the name, but they were busting grown men who had been
okay,
predators to young people on the internet, and
yes.
they were showing up. And when they were showing up, the cameras was like, "I've never done anything like this before." Child is 12 years old. How the conversation that you would have, you know, we couldn't have anybody that our parents didn't know or the whole neighborhood didn't know. They wanted
Okay,
to know, well, who you going out with? Couldn't say, where you going? Out. Who you going with? My friends. Who your friends? Okay, no. Where you going? Well,
I mean, but most
we gonna
parents,
walk down to the stadium. Okay, who you going with? Me, Dick, Jane, and baby Sally. We all walking down to the stadium. Okay, how long you think that's gonna be? It's gonna be 30 minutes back. We're gonna probably 30 minutes down, and we'll probably be back. We're gonna
well, I don't think that's changed as much because people still do want to know where the kids are going. I mean, no,
and
wait a minute.
they got the access to them now. They got I understand
You could
kids
put
having
a
cell phones
GPS
because you
tracker
never
on 'em.
know. You
You could
never
put
know
a
what's gonna
GPS
happen.
tracker on 'em, and they won't even know it. They got GPS trackers. You can put that on their car, so you know where their car is at all time. You can drop
Okay.
it in their purse, and
Okay.
and have someone know. I
You,
mean, it's not like you cannot follow your child, but the better communication that you have with your child, the better it is
it
because
is.
you've taken the time to get to know your child, and your child get to know you. I mean, if you build a wall, then you built the wall, and your child won't get to know you. I mean,
But
there
then,
is.
if we think about this though, Mr. Kennedy, a lot of parents in this day and age don't really want to parent their children. They want to be friends with their children. Uh, I don't get that
And
part. I'm the
okay, wait a minute. I know
authoritative
why.
figure in this scenario. I'm not
Okay,
your
but
friend. I got my own friends. I want to know
okay,
who
wait.
your friends are.
Okay, first of all, you do want to be their friend. You can
No,
be their friend, and wait a minute,
come on.
wait a minute. Let me finish. You can be
Go
their
ahead.
friend and their parent because you're still the authority. There's nothing wrong with you getting them. See, if you want to know what your child is doing, being the friend of your child is your child will far be
I'm
more open.
friendly with
Okay,
them.
okay, wait a minute. Your child will be far more open to you
Right.
if you're not sitting back there saying, "Well, I don't want to know." This big wall.
Hmm.
Okay, I mean, just like our grandkids know the rules that we have here at our home.
Hmm.
They know the rules that they have at their home.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I make quite clear to them, okay, there are certain things that we do here, and I'm not asking you what you do there. This is what we're doing here.
Here.
And when you're here, this is how you will conduct yourself here. So you can have it, you can have more than one layer of conduct.
Hmm.
But if you really want to get to know your children, you have to be willing to be friendly enough to say, "Well, let me watch what you're watching.
Hmm.
Let me see what you're doing." Because if you build a wall up, then you'll never know that it's like living with a stranger.
Hmm.
Okay, but who made that happen? You,
You.
because the child, as the child, they are dependent on you as the adult. They need your guidance. You to feed them, you to clothe them, you to house them, you to take them places, you to do things with them. So the more you are
Are
active with your
involved in
child,
their lives.
the more open they will be with you.
Hmm.
If you put the wall up, yes, you can put it up because the child don't have has very little to do with that. But how much do you want to know about your child or get to know your child as they become an adult? We want to even be around you. We want to spend time with you. I mean, we can put our own walls up and then wonder why it happened. But we looked in the mirror. Maybe we were the ones who was putting the wall up and didn't know
Yeah. And that's a very valid and insightful point that you're making. Like I said, I'm not their friend. I'm very friendly with them. They know that they can come and ask me as well as ask you, what the situation. And sometimes they try to play me and you, both ends against the middle. And I'm like, that's not how
But
this
what
gonna go
child
down.
hasn't? Most children
But yeah,
always try to play try to play.
yeah.
I mean, because you're learning your boundaries as a
Hmm.
child. You're learning your boundaries.
Hmm.
Okay, what can you ask of this person and they're willing to go along with it or willing to help you do it. And when you ask somebody else and they're not as willing or not as forthcoming with giving you ideas, well then human nature said, look, I'm going to where the least resistance is. That's human nature. Okay, if I'm not getting a lot of static over here, I will come over here. If I'm getting a lot of static over here, I may still come over here, but that does not mean that I won't be getting static. I know I'm going to get static.
Oh, okay.
And we need both. I mean, and a lot of times we need both. We need to
We
know
and we do. We need to
that
have that
they
balance. And
yeah.
they need to know, and they have boundaries with me. They think I'm, they think, oh, she won't do it. We're gonna ask Papa. I said, you do realize this is my husband. You do realize that we work as a team like this. There is no circumvention when you can say, well, you won't tell me, you won't do it. I'm going to go to Papa. And that's your best resource. Because if I tell you no, I'm going to tell you, Papa, that I told you no. And let you and he spoils them kids right.
But that's generally what grandparents do. That
I
grandparents generally
don't
do it,
spoil them.
and that's I said generally. I didn't say
Generally.
every grandparent.
And I know that I'm friendly with them because we do a lot of things together that we all love. I got them into thrifting, and they just absolutely love thrifting. I used to tell them we got the pay less shoe source motto. We could pay more, but why? And they love finding steals at the secondhand store. And It's a Wrap. We go. Did I just mention this? And
Yes,
so
you
we
did.
have that.
I mean, one of our listeners, she mentioned, we had, just like I was saying, we had the TV now, and she was saying, well, look at now, they had a cell phone, they had a tablet to entertain them, and so they would be smarter. There'd be a lot more.
But they're a lot. What I see is they're a lot less human involved because they can go to that tablet, because
Well,
they
then
feel
you
like
have to
they're
change
not.
that.
That's why I think, it's important to get like you said, get to know your grandchildren, get to know your husband, get to know the person that you believe that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Because when you stand up there and take that vow, that did something to me. I was like, really? We got to do this like every day. And like, okay, I can do it. And we've been going strong. We celebrate our 52nd year of knowing one another and loving one another. That's
No, I'm not that old.
Okay, wait. Okay, before we go out,
I'm not that old.
Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, we got our last few minutes.
Yes.
What? Sean Puff Daddy P Diddy Whoop the Who Witty. They arrested him, and he going to jail, and then they said bail. What?
I mean,
okay, Puff Daddy. Okay, I'm just being really melodramatic because
I mean,
really, did y'all not see this coming?
Well, I mean, no, most of us did not.
I did.
Wait a minute. I say most of us did not see that coming because, first of all, this is the first time, unfortunately, he did get indicted. I mean, the rumors have been around for years. So to say, oh, I just knew it was coming. No, this had been out there for years. And I say even to this day, I do believe if the settlement had been made with the first young lady, last year in October, I think it was, when him and his former girlfriend was going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
If he had settled with her, I don't think any of this probably would have came out. I mean, that's just my opinion. That I don't think it would have came out. I mean, it may have, because maybe sooner or later something else would have happened and it would have came out. But I think if he had settled with her, this probably never would have happened. I mean, but that's hindsight. That's only hindsight.
Okay.
Because he had gotten away with it for years. And it's still on the allegations. It's not proven yet. They will be going to court, so they will have a chance to prove it, but it hasn't been proven yet.
Okay, but he didn't get bail. What does that say about somebody?
Because he got too much money. He has too much money to think he could be a rich.
Well, wait a minute. R. Kelly thought the same thing too.
Okay, but
he's still in jail. So
because he wasn't released either. He wasn't released. R. Kelly didn't get released either, though.
No,
We almost all the time. I mean, because if you have a lot of money, a lot of times you can't get bail because they do believe if they gave you bail, you would, because you have enough money.
Please
You go live in
that's
yeah.
why they took it. That's why they took his what you call them on the what's the name. It's
Yeah.
so it's we always have a lively conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. I got you, mother.